Hello students, welcome to the Let's Crack Foundation and Unacademy course. I am Rashmi Singh. I have done BTech in Electrical Engineering and I have more than 8 years of experience. I have mentored students for various Olympiad exams like NTSE, IESO. I have also mentored students for their CBSE boards exam of class 10th and 12th. Apart from that, I have also given training to many corporate employees on various life skills like conflict resolution, critical thinking skills, 5S, Six Sigma, Lean, etc. Okay, so basically, I'm here to teach you English, and you should join this foundation and NTSC course on an academy itself. Why so? Because on an academy you get live classes from the top educators of India. You just need to find the correct teacher student fit, and then you can kickstart your preparations. And I believe that you should start your preparations from class ninth itself for IIT JEEs, AIMS, or any other exam you are targeting, because it will build a great foundation, right? So to make a great building, you need to have a great foundation. So you should start these classes at class 9 itself, in class 9 itself. Okay, the best part of this Unacademy platform is it is very easy to subscribe. You just need to go to the Play Store and download this Unacademy learning app. Okay, it's so easy. You just need to download an app and you can get the exposure of all the educators, all the top educators, and this world of learning is open to you, right? The best part is it is very affordable. There are so many plans to choose from. You can subscribe the course for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months. You will even get a 10% discount, a whooping 10% discount if you'll use this code RSYT. All these prices are revised prices and it is way lower than the earlier prices of our courses. Okay, so you just need to apply RSYT course and you will get a 10% discount. The fees of 3500 get reduced to 3150 as soon as you apply this RSYT code. If you are seriously preparing for any of these exams, then my dear students, you should subscribe the course for 12 months. Okay, because if you'll invest that much time, then only you will get the desired results. Okay, so the per month cost for the 12-month course would be rupees 1313, and just imagine at this affordable, at this low price, you are getting access of all the subjects, right? And if you'll just add 1 month fees to it, 3150 is added to 15,750. So basically you are paying for just 13 months, but at the cost of 13 months you are getting the subscription for 20 months. Isn't it isn't it magical, right? Just for 30, you have to pay just for 13 months and you can get the subscription for 24 months at rupees 18,900, and the per month cost would come 788 rupees. I don't know whether you will be able to own a pair of shoes, branded shoes, or a shirt at this cost. No, not at all. Okay, so it is very affordable at such low price. You can access all the courses, all the new courses which is being launched every month, and you can cover the whole syllabus in a very structured manner if you will subscribe for 24 months. Okay, so just subscribe it and start cracking it. Okay, start cracking all your big exams. So before I start, I would just like to tell you that about the corona fever which is going on everywhere. So this is the little corona king and we need to defeat him, right? But how would we defeat him? If we follow some small steps, right? First is that you need to wash your hands regularly, okay? And you should wash your hands at least for 30 minutes to 30 seconds to 1 minute, sorry, okay? Apart from that, you should greet in the traditional way. You should do namaste, sastriyakal, or walihukum salam. But please, please, please do not shake your hands. And last and most important thing is that you need to stay at your homes only. Stay at your home and start preparing for your exams. Study well. Be safe. Okay. Now, in this lecture, today we are basically going to cover all the important aspects of reading comprehension. Before I start, I would like to just give you a summary of how this session is going to unfold. Okay, so basically, this session would be in three parts. In the first part, we will see what is reading, what is the science behind reading, and why reading is very important for students or for that aspect for everyone. Okay, in the second part we will see that what is the question patterns which are asked in CBSE boards as far as RC is concerned. Okay, and in the last and most interesting part we will basically discuss how to approach the RC questions, and even I'm going to show you how to solve a question practically. Okay, so let's start. Reading. Here you can see two definitions of reading. Okay, one is in a very simpler language, and one is in a basic, like you can say a scientific kind of definition is here. And on the one side you can see the simple definition. Okay, the more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you will go. So basically, reading increases your knowledge, and if you have better knowledge you will learn more, and if you learn more you will go to the more places, or in short you can say you can achieve more goals. Okay, on the other hand, so I think the purpose of reading is very clear, that if you read you will know, and it will enhance your learning, and it is going to help you in long term. Okay, now we will try to look into the science behind reading. Okay, so reading is a complex cognitive process of decoding symbols to derive meaning. Okay, now what do I mean here by cognitive process? Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oops, so sorry. Okay, bear with my bad handwriting, students. Cognitive. Cognitive basically, my dear students, means the process or the ability to acquire knowledge. Okay, cognizance means knowledge, and the ability to acquire that knowledge is called cognitive. Okay, so reading is basically that process through which you acquire knowledge. But how does this whole process of reading works? This whole process of reading works on decoding symbols. Okay, what we do basically in reading, we decode symbols. Okay, now before I explain this particular thing in detail, I would just like to know that which of the following you learned first: listening, speaking, reading, or writing. Okay, just think quickly and tell me the answer. Okay, or you can just keep the answer in your heads. Okay, so first of all, when you were when you were a child, when you were very small, first of all you learned listening, right? Then you started speaking. Later on, you learned reading, and after that, you learned writing. Okay, so the key player in all this, in learning all these skills, is basically the sounds. Okay, we initially listen to the sounds, okay, and then we try to speak it, and then we make a picture of all those sounds, right? Like for b, we use the term B. So B is what? It is an alphabet, but at the same time, it is a symbol to depict that sound, that B sound. Okay. Similarly, D, for D we write D. Okay. P, pa, we write P. Okay. Q. Okay. Now what is reading? Reading is basically understanding the difference between these symbols. Okay, like when you were child, initially when you started reading, you started decoding that this is B, and the mirror image of B would be D. Similarly, you understood that this particular symbol is P, and the mirror image of that particular P is going to be Q. Okay. Okay, so this is one part of decoding symbol. Another example of decoding symbol would be how to differentiate between different words, right? If I write R, E, A, D, then these are nothing but alphabets, right? Alphabets written at particular distance. It is not going to make any sense. But if we reduce this gap, then what happens? If I write it like this, then you can understand that these alphabets are the part of a word, that is read. Okay, so basically when you were in your preschools, you learned to differentiate the gaps between the words in a sentence. Okay, so here the gap between E, A, D, I is very smaller. So these alphabets are the part of a word. Okay. On the other hand, if the gaps are more between these group of alphabets, reading is the complex. So the gap between these particular words are more, so they are going to be the part of a bigger sentence. Okay. So this is what I mean by decoding the This is what I mean by decoding the symbols. Okay, decoding the symbols to derive meaning. Okay, so this is the science behind reading. What you do, you try to acquire knowledge by decoding the various symbols to derive at a certain meaning. Now, it is also a form of language processing because in all the languages, basically alphabets are used to depict the symbols, to depict the sounds. Okay, so there is a symbol, there is a sound, symbol depicts the sound, and then the whole processing starts because you have already learned listening, speaking. So when you will start reading, you will start comprehending things, you will start understanding things. Okay, so the success in the process of reading is basically measured through reading comprehension. Okay, so to comprehend means to understand. Okay, so I think I am very clear that what is reading, what is the science behind reading. Now let us move to the another aspect of reading, that why reading is required, right? So reading basically develops knowledge. In fact, you can say knowledge eats reading ability for lunch. Okay. So do you know this? There is a very famous quote about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You should eat your breakfast like a king, right? You should eat your lunch like a prince, and you should have your dinner like a pauper or like a beggar. Okay. Similarly, if you want to acquire knowledge, then reading ability should be taken as lunch. Okay, you need not to overdo it like breakfast, and you cannot survive with minimal of reading ability. Okay, so you need to have a particular balance, then only you will acquire that state of knowledge. Okay, and without reading you cannot acquire knowledge much. Okay, so there are various means of gaining knowledge. You can listen to some particular article, you can listen to some resource and acquire knowledge. You can basically watch some resource and acquire knowledge. But if you want to have a good knowledge of a particular topic, then you have to thoroughly read it. Okay, it's like it's very easy to go and watch a Harry Potter movie. Okay, but if you'll read the novel, then you will have the better understanding of the whole series. Okay, because in a 3 hour movie, they are not going to include everything whatever is written in the novel. Okay, it's like that only. So if you want to have a good knowledge, then you should have a good reading ability and a good ability to comprehend what is basically written. Okay, if you are reading something, you should be able to understand that also. Okay, so my dear students, let us move to the next slide. That is, reading skills are related with which other complementary skills. Okay, so here you can see that reading skills are related with phonics, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. Out of these four, these two are basically constrained skills. Okay, what I mean by constrained skill is that these are very easy to be measured. Phonics basically means pronunciation. Okay, so pronunciation of a student can be judged very easily, whether that student is good in his pronunciation or her pronunciation, or he is not pronouncing the word correctly. You can very easily guess it. So it is a constrained skill which can be judged, which can be measured. Okay. Similarly, fluency. If a student is fluent in any of the language, you can judge it very easily. If you'll talk to that particular student or that particular person, you can very easily understand that whether that person is fluent or not. Okay, so constrained skills are basically those skills which are easy to be measured. Okay, which can be measured very easily. On the other hand, these two skills are very difficult to be measured. Okay, these are called unconstrained skills. Your vocabulary right now must be much better than it was 5 years ago. Okay, the way you comprehend a text right now will not be as good as it can be after 5 years. Right, you can comprehend things better after 5 years, I think, from now. So these are the two abilities on which it is very difficult to judge any student. Okay, and if a student is just offered the leveled text, he cannot develop these unconstrained skills. Okay. Now, what I mean by leveled text here, leveled. Can you guess? Can you all guess at least? Okay. If not, then I will explain in the next slide. See, leveled texts are basically texts which are organized as per the difficulty level. Okay, the books of class 6 will not be as difficult, would not be that difficult for a student of class ninth, and at the same time the books of class ninth will not be that easy for the student of class 6, right? So in India, basically the education system is like this, or in any other country, it is like this, that a student is given, is being exposed to the leveled text. Okay, and if you are just exposed to the leveled text, you will not be able to learn these two skills, comprehension and vocabulary. Okay, if you will just be given the same kind of text every time, and if all the students are given same text, all the student of class 6, then obviously their comprehension and vocabulary also will be at the same level, right? If a student needs to develop this skill better than others, then he need to be given some other text to study, and those texts are called enabling text. And the RC passages which you are being given in your CBSE boards are basically those enabling text. Enabling text basically encourage you to read more. Okay. A research has been conducted in one of the university where a group of students were given a portion of a novel to read, and after reading that particular portion, they found it very difficult to resist reading the whole novel. Okay, so that particular text was enabling text, which encourages you to read. Okay, and if it will encourage you to read, you will try to comprehend things, and you will try to figure out the meanings of the words which are there in a particular passage. Even if you do not know the meaning of the passage, then you will at least try to guess the meaning of that word from the whole context. Okay, so basically that is the reason why RC passages are included in your syllabus. Okay, I hope I'm very clear till now that what is the science behind reading and why we are using this reading comprehension part in your syllabus itself, in your academic curriculum. Okay, now let us move further with the second part of this session, that what is the you can say what are the various ways in which questions are asked, and what questions are basically, what will be the form of the question you will be asked in your CBSE exams. So basically section A consists of the reading part, okay, where you get two passages, a factual passage and a discursive passage. In factual passage you will have 8 MCQ questions. On the other hand, in the discursive passage, you will be having 4 short answer questions plus 4 objective questions, 4 objective questions. Sorry. Okay. So this will carry 8 marks and this will carry 4 marks, which makes 12 marks. Okay, am I clear? So now let us see what is factual passage and what is discursive passage. Okay. There is a mistake in the slide, a discursive passage. S should not be here. Okay. Okay, but before that, how can you score 20 out of 20 in section A? Or for that aspect, how can you score full marks in any of your subjects? Okay, I'm going to explain it with this curve of forgetting. This curve of forgetting was given by the psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus. He belonged to Germany and he did an experiment on himself. Okay, he tried to learn some group of words. Okay, and then after 24 hours he checked that how many of those words he actually remembered. Okay, then he again checked himself that after 2 days how many words he has retained in his brain. Then after 7 days how many words have been wiped out. After 30 days what is the status of those vocabulary. Okay, now for doing this experiment he did not pick up the regular English words which has got meaning, like bat, cat. He did not picked up such words. Can you tell me why? Can any of you tell me why? Because bat, cat, if you will just try to remember these words in a list, you will have an image in your brain. And if you will have those images in your brain would try to connect all these words and try to memorize it. Okay, so he did not use such words. He made a list of meaningless words, any phonetics, vowel, consonant, some meaningful words, and then he did this experiment on himself, that how many words he actually remembers. Okay, now what he found after doing this experiment, he found that whatever you have studied on the day one, if you'll study it again for 1 hour, you will retain the 100% of whatever you have studied. Okay, so basically your brain works on use it or lose it principle. If you will use your brain again, that brain will basically absorb more of a thing. If not, it will just let everything go. Okay, and if you will not study, then basically what happens on the second day, you forget around 80% of whatever you have studied. Okay, so can you just see the speed with which the brain is wiping out all the facts you have studied? On the day one, if you have studied 100% and you have understood 100% and you do not revise it on the second day, then 80% of whatever you have learnt will get wiped off. Okay, and in 7 days it may become like around 85%, and on the 30th day your brain will just remember this 10% of whatever you have studied, and it will wipe it off all the 90% of whatever you have studied get vanished from your active brain, from your active memory. That is a lot to lose, right? So what we need to do, we need to basically revise it. Okay, so whatever I will teach you today, you need to basically revise it on day one and study it for 1 hour. On day two, if you will revise the whole thing for the 10 minutes only, you will be able to retain 95% of whatever you have studied. Again, on day 7, if you will just revise everything for 5 minutes, you will be able to retain at least 90% of whatever you have studied. And if you will revise it again after 50 days, after 30 days, on day 30, then you will be able to memorize at least, remember at least 85%. Okay, so this is how the curve of forgetting works. Okay, so whatever I am teaching you today, you need to revise it within an hour. And if we'll keep revising it and if we'll keep practicing all the RC passages, at least one RC passage one day, then you can score 20 out of 20 very easily. Okay? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Types of RC passages. First is factual passage, which is also called as expository passage or informative passage. Okay, now what is expository? Expository is something which can be explained. Informative is something in which some information is being thrown at you. Okay, you are being informed about something. So our factual passages basically give you facts which can be true or false, which can be proved to be true or false. Okay, it is easier to comprehend, it is easier to understand. Now let us see this particular RC passage. Okay, what are the information they are basically providing you? Okay, coronavirus were discovered in 1960s. Coronaviruses were discovered. So here this passage, the first line of the passage speaks about the discovery. They are a group of viruses that causes disease. Okay, what does it do? It causes disease. This is the second information they are providing. Disease in mammals and birds. In humans, coronavirus cause respiratory tract infections. Okay, again one information is being put on you, put in front of you. Okay. The name coronavirus is derived from the Latin word corona, meaning crown or halo. The name refers to characteristic appearance of an infective form of the virus, which is reminiscent of a crown or solar corona. Okay, so this paragraph, this complete paragraph gives you the etymology. Bear with my bad handwriting. Sorry. It tells you about the etymology of the word. Etymology is basically the study of origin of any of the words. Okay, now what do we notice over here, or how can you identify that this particular passage is a factual passage? In a factual passages, mostly some numbers, year or percentage and some facts and figures are given. So here also you can see that the year is given, and apart from that, a factual passage provides good clarity on the topic being discussed. Okay, so a factual passage is easier to understand. Okay, now let us see what is discursive passage. In the discursive passage, basically many topics are talked about randomly. The author is talking on many topics. He will ramble from one topic to another. Okay, and you will see that the author is roaming aimlessly. Like you see these people in this picture, they are roaming aimlessly, without any aim, without any direction, blindfolded all the time. Okay, you can think of a discursive passage like this only. Okay, now let us see this particular passage. BPOs have often been faulted for the lack of women in their senior managerial positions. So here in the first line, they are talking about gender diversity at workplace. Okay, now let us see in the second sentence what they are talking about. Communication and self-expression, sorry. Communication and self-expression are key challenges that the women working in BPO sector face today. Okay, so now the problem women face is being discussed here. That is communication, self-expression. Two problems, right? These problems arise from the lack of confidence. The problem behind this problem is lack of confidence. Okay, so the root cause of all these problem is lack of confidence, says the CEO of SitaGita.com, a blog for women who work in BPOs. Again, one information is being put on by the author. Not all BPO women are considered to be confident and on a par with the male colleagues. Now, the comparison has also come. Okay, the author has made a comparison also here. And then women at senior levels may be very confident, but lower rung employees have long way to go. Okay, so did you notice that how many things the author has talked about? The author has talked about the gender diversity, the problems, and at the same time about one blog and why females are not at par with the male colleagues, and at last what is the status of women at the senior levels. Okay, so basically the passage will talk about various topics at random that appear to have no connection with one another. Here basically it makes sense, it gets connected, but most of the time it won't. It often passes aimlessly from one subject to another, that we can see. The author is rambling from one topic to another, from gender diversity to the problem to the root cause of the problem, then to the blogs, and then what is the basically comparison between male and female colleagues. So author is talking a lot about a lot of topics. Okay, in the discursive passage you will notice such ambiguity. Okay, such lack of connection. Okay, now let us come to the most interesting part of this session. Okay, I personally like it. That is technique to solve RC, how to approach the reading comprehension questions. Okay, so what do you need to do? There will be 3 steps. Okay, in the first step, we just need to preview before reading. Okay, I hope you all understand what is the meaning of preview. Like when you go to a theater, a trailer of a movie is being shown to you. That is the preview of a movie. Okay. Like similarly, whenever any reading comprehension passage is being given to you, you just have to skim the passage. What you can do for that, there are 2 ways doing it. Okay. The first way is, and the second way. Okay. If a passage consists of 3 paragraphs, let us assume this. How can you skim or preview? The first way, which I personally like, is that in the first paragraph, read the first sentence and the last sentence. Okay. In the second paragraph, also read the first sentence and the last sentence. In the third paragraph, also read the first sentence and the last sentence. Okay. Another way of skimming a particular paragraph or skimming a particular passage or previewing the whole passage is just read the whole first paragraph and read the last paragraph. Okay, with this you will get a gist of the passage. Okay, like every essay has got introduction and conclusion. With that you can at least make a connection that how this passage is going to run, okay, is going to unfold. So you have 2 methods to skim it, and now most of the teachers say that you should read the question first and then start reading the passage, which I personally feel is a wrong method. Okay, because if you read the question first, and you have basic knowledge of that particular topic, your brain starts picturizing and creating the whole story itself. Okay, so you will not be able to comprehend what the author is trying to say in a particular passage. Okay, can I explain it little? I will explain it little more with one example. Okay, there were 4 group of students. Okay, and they all were given a topic, a passage on baseball. Okay, so it was a kind of baseball study research. Okay, so the 4 groups of students were basically like there were students who had high knowledge of baseball. Okay. Then there were students who had low knowledge of baseball. Okay. These high knowledge students having higher knowledge, some of them had higher reading abilities and lower reading ability. Okay. Similar way, we have high reading ability, students with high reading ability and low knowledge. And at the same time, low lower reading ability and high knowledge. Okay. So we have four group of students. One group having high reading ability, high knowledge, low reading ability, low knowledge. High reading ability but low knowledge, low reading ability and high knowledge. Okay, the student who performed best were these students. They were it was very easy for them to comprehend that particular knowledge on the baseball because they already had some knowledge, some good knowledge about baseball. Okay, now the group which performed second best was, can you guess which group would have performed after this, would have performed well after this particular group? So that group was this, those who were having high knowledge and low reading ability. Okay, so if you will basically read the questions and if you have some basic knowledge or some good knowledge about that particular topic, say let's say cricket, then what you will do, you will start creating a picture in your brain about that particular topic which may mislead you further. Okay, so what we need to do, we do not need to read the questions first, we just need to preview the whole passage. Okay, this is the first step. You just need to take a glance, like this person is running over the textbook, right? So similarly you will have to take a glance of the whole paragraph. Okay, now let us move to the second step, that is overview. Okay, so here what is this person doing? He is basically looking at something very carefully with a magnifying glass. Okay, so in the similar way you need to read the whole material. Okay, now at this point of time you can start reading the questions. Okay, but please do not read the options. Okay, if it's MCQ type question, then please do not read the options. What you need to do, you just need to read the questions and underline the keywords in the question. Okay, now read the whole passage again and mark those keywords which appear in the question in your whole passage. Okay, whatever keyword you have seen in your question, whatever keywords have been appeared in the question, you need to underline all those words in the passage. And at the same time, if you do not get the meaning of any word, then just underline it. You need not to worry about it. If you do not know the meaning of particular words, then also it is fine, you just underline it. Okay, so this is the second step, that you need to read the text carefully. Okay, now let us see what is the third step. Okay, I think there is too much of reading, right? So just keep calm and read it again. Okay, but now how do we need to read it? We need to read it in a way to comprehend the whole idea and to summarize the whole idea. Okay, so again you can go to the question and reread the text if the text is really difficult, and if not, then in the second when you read for the second time only, you will start getting the answers. Okay, so let us solve one question. Let's crack it. Let's create a Drent. Okay, this question I have taken from your CBSE Boards 2020 English paper. Okay, so are we ready to solve this question? Okay. Okay, so this is the best part. I love this part of solving the question in front of students because basically you get an idea. This is the best part to help the student. You will get an idea that how to approach the question practically. Okay, so I like the first method of previewing, or you can say scheming, in which I just read the first sentence and the last sentence of the paragraph. Okay, believe me or not, you will be asked at least 80% of your questions in any of the passages would be asked from the first and the last sentences of each paragraph. Okay, so let us just start solving. Okay, caged behind the thick glass, the most famous dancer in the world can easily be missed in the National Museum, Delhi. Okay, whenever you get these information, whenever you find such commas in a sentence, basically this particular part is parenthetical and it gives you some additional information. Okay, so sentences with such commas are very important. Okay, because it is giving you some additional information. Okay. The most famous dancer in the world can be easily missed in the National Museum, Delhi, which is basically caged behind the thick glass. Now let us see the last sentence. You have to be alert to her existence there amid terracotta animals to rediscover this bronze image. So the image is of bronze and it is placed in among the terracotta animals and you have to be alert. Okay. Most of us have seen her only in photographs and sketches. Therefore, the impact of actually holding her is magnified a million times over. Now, whenever you get a sentence in which you have this structure words like therefore, that, thus, but, so you need to pay importance to such sentences. Questions are asked from such sentences, okay, which has got such words. Now, the last sentence, she is small, a little over 10 centimeter, the length of human palm, but she surprises us with the power of great art, the ability to communicate across centuries. Now, again, if you will come across sentences having such hyphens, that sentence is also very important. Okay, so you need to underline that this sentence and you need to basically focus more on such sentences because a question may be asked from this particular sentence. A series of bangles of shell or ivory or thin metal clothe her left arm all the way down her fingers. Again, these hyphens are there, so this sentence will be important. Now, this paragraph consists of just two sentences, first sentences and second. So, the whole paragraph will be important. Right eye, important. Okay. A necklace with three pendants bunched together and a few bangles above the elbow and wrist on the right hand display an almost modern art. Okay. She speaks of undaunted, ever hopeful human spirit. She reminds us that it is important to that if that word has come then also this part must be important, just like therefore it is important to visit in our country to experience the impact that a work of art leaves on our senses. She reminds us to find among all the riches one particular vision of beauty that speaks to us alone. Okay, so now let us come to the second step. For that we need to understand, we need to go through the question once. The dancing girl belongs to. So here they are asking about some place. Okay, because in the option you have the bit, though you need not to see the options, but here we can just guess that okay, they are talking about some place. She belongs to which place? Like I belong to Kota. Okay, we use this word to depict a place. Okay, so the dancing girl belongs to which place? In museum, she is kept among. Okay, again in the museum, when she has been brought from one place, where has she been placed? Okay, so here also we are talking about some place where we have kept her. Okay, Which information is not given in the passage? Okay, now this question you need to leave. We will attempt this question at last after reading the whole paragraph. Great art. Now we need to underline this word when we go through the whole paragraph again as per the second step. Then whenever we will find this word, I will tell you what we will do in the passage. Okay. The jewelry she wears. There was one whole paragraph giving information about her jewelry, and we have marked the whole paragraph important. Okay, that's why I've told you the paragraph having two sentences will always be important. The first sentence and last sentence. Okay, so we have this whole question based on that. Okay, she reminds us. Reminds. This is the key word. Okay, the synonym of word among in para 1. So in para 1, whenever we find any word similar to among, we need to write it here. The size of the dancing girl, size, is equal to the length of human palm. Okay, now we just need to figure out these words in the paragraph itself. Size, sorry, reminds, great art. Okay, apart from that, the places and all we need to find. Okay, so now let's read this whole passage again. I know initially you will find it really cumbersome, and this particular method is going to be too lengthy, and it will take a lot of time for you to get familiar with this particular method. Okay, but when you will solve 10 passages, or if you'll solve one passage every day, and after 10 days you will see the progress, you will see the speed with which you are able to solve these questions. Okay, now my dear students, why I am stressing so much on these methods, because reading comprehension is one thing which you will be asked even after completing your IITs or AIMS. If you want to basically crack any of your government exams after graduation, RC has got a very important role to play in those questions. Okay, if you are targeting especially the PSC exams, the Public Service Commission exams of particular state, or UPSC exam, then RC is going to play a very important role, and you will not have enough time to read all these in class 11th and 12th if you are preparing for NEET and IIT. So this is the best time to devote a particular set of you can say to invest your time in these things, to learn these skills. Okay, so now let us quickly see the second step. In the second step, we need to find out all those words. Okay, case behind the thick glass, the most famous dancer in the world, can be easily missed in National Museum, Delhi. So it is placed in Delhi. The dancing girl of the Mohenjo-daro is that rare artifact. Mohenjo-daro is also a place. So I will just write Q over here. Okay, somewhere this word is related with the question. Is that rare artifact that even school children are familiar with. Our school textbook also communicate the wealth of our 5,000-year heritage of art. Okay, you have to be alert to her existence there amid. Amid is the word which is similar to among. So again I will write a Q over here, among terracotta animals, to rediscover this bronze image. Most of us have seen her only in photographs or sketches, therefore, the impact of actually holding her is magnified a million times over. So here holding her means preserving her. Okay, most of us have seen her in photograph or sketches. On if we witness her, or if we'll see her with our actual eyes, then the impact basically magnifies. One discovers that the dancing girl has no feet. She is small, a little over 10 centimeter tall, the length of a human palm. So here again size, right? In one question we have been asked about the size. But she surprises us with the power of great art. Yes, this word was there, right? So I will write Q. The ability to communicate across the centuries. A series of shell or ivory or thin metal clothe her. Okay, so this was also in the question. Clothe her left upper arm all the way down to her fingers. A necklace with three pendants bunched together and a few bangles above the elbow and wrist on the right hand display an almost modern art. She speaks of the undaunted, ever hopeful human spirit. She reminds us, that it is important to visit museum in our country. Okay, so this particular part, it is important to visit museums. This is the key word over here. Okay, so this is important in our country. Why to visit the museum? To experience the impact that a work of art leaves on our senses. Okay, why should we visit museums? To experience the impact, to find among all the riches one particular vision of beauty. Okay, and to find the vision of beauty and to experience the impact. These are the two major reasons why the author is saying to go and visit museums. Okay, now if you want, if the paragraph is quite clear to you, the passage is quite clear to you, then you can read it. You need not to read it again. You can just go to the question and keep solving it after reading the each paragraph. Okay, or what you can do, you can read it again. Caged behind the thick glass, the most famous dancer of the world can easily be missed in the National Museum. The dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro is that rare artifact that even school children are familiar with. Our school textbook also communicate the wealth of our 5,000-year heritage of art. You have to be alert to her existence there amid terracotta animals to discover this bronze image. So this whole paragraph is talking about the importance of that particular figurine. Most of us have only seen her in photographs and sketches, therefore, the impact of actually holding her is magnified millions times. One discovers that dancing girl has no feet. Now, this particular paragraph is depicting how she looks like, or you can say it is just giving you the details of dimension. This paragraph is giving you the information about jewelry, right? And the last paragraph basically is having a more broader aspect of this particular dancing girl, that why she has been kept in the museum, to inspire the people to go and visit museum, and so that the people can basically engage with the beauty of these artifacts. Okay, so it has got a broader meaning, or you can say this particular paragraph is giving you the moral of this whole RC. Okay, my dear students. Now let's solve the question. The dancing girl belongs to Mohenjo-daro, as we have seen in this paragraph where we have written Q. Okay. In museum, she is kept among, very easy in the first paragraph itself, terracotta animals. Which information is not given in the passage? The girl is caged behind the glass. This is given in the very first sentence. It is here. So this information is right. She is a rare artifact. Yes, it was also written in the first paragraph itself. If you will read it thrice, you will not find any problem in figuring out where these are written. School books communicate the wealth of our heritage. Everything is in the first paragraph itself. Our school textbook also communicate the wealth of our 5,000-year heritage of art. She cannot be rediscovered as she is bronze. Okay, now this is a negative connotation, right? A negative sentence. Nowhere in the whole paragraph it is written that she cannot be rediscovered. Okay, so the answer is this. Whenever you find a negative connotation, then basically that would be your answer. That is the trick. Whenever you have such negative words and you need to figure out, but yes, you have to be careful. Okay. Great art has the power. Okay, we have written Q in front of this word. She is small, a little over 10 centimeter tall, the length of human palm, but she surprises us with the power of great art. And what is that great art? Here, this particular portion, the hyphen has been used, right? So the hyphen is going to describe this particular word. What is great art? The ability to communicate across the centuries. Okay, so the great art is she is small but she surprises us. Okay, now but is also one of the connecting words like therefore. Okay, so this part was already important. She surprises us with the power of great art, that is, the ability to communicate across centuries. That means she can communicate even even to the people who are going to come after many centuries. Okay, great art has the power because it appeals to us despite the passage of time. Yes, there we were talking about time, about centuries, so this may be the answer. Great art has power because it is small and can be understood. No, great art was nowhere related with the small dimension of that particular figurine. It's seen in pictures and sketches. No, it is magnified a million times. No, this is also not the answer. So the answer is this itself. The jewelry she wears consists of bangles of shell, ivory, or thin metal. Is a necklace with two pendants. So let us go to the third paragraph. A series of bangle of shell or ivory or thin metal. Here it is clearly written or, and in the option a comma has been used. So comma and or are completely different things. Comma somehow is relatable to the word and. Okay. So if I am saying shell comma ivory, that means that bangles are made up of shell as well as ivory. But if I'm saying or, that means it is either made of shell or ivory or thin metal. It is not clear what it is actually made up of. Okay, so this is not the right option. The jewelry she wears is a necklace with two pendants. Now let us see what the passage is telling. A necklace with three pendants bunched together. Three, not two. So obviously this also is not the correct option. So both the options are incorrect. That makes the answer 4. Okay. She reminds us. Okay. Now let us see where was this word. I have written Q, right? She reminds us that it is important to visit museums. Okay, whenever you find a preposition, basically after the preposition, whatever word is written or whatever information is given, you can skip it. Okay, this part is important. She reminds us that we should visit museums. She reminds us of the never say die attitude of humans. No. Why museum in our country are exciting? Yes, okay. Why she will make us come into money? Not at all. She reminds us of dancing figures. No. Okay. So the answer is 2. The synonym of among we have already discussed. It is amid. The size of dancing girl is equal to the length of palm. Yes, this is true. Okay, so you have seen that how we need to approach the question and what are the strategies you need to follow while solving these questions. Okay, now after discussing this whole question, we have come up with few particular things which we always need to keep in mind while solving the RC. Okay, so I'm just going to summarize it for you. So Mr. Rajnikant is there to tell you that what are the points you need to mind it. Okay. First is whenever you see a complex sentence, understand only the dependent clause. If I write a sentence having these two clauses, dependent and independent, if I study, if I will study, sorry, if I study, I will pass the exam. Okay, suppose I have written this sentence that if I study, bear with my bad handwriting, okay. If I study, I will pass. Here you can see that we have two clauses. Now, which is dependent on which one? If I study, I will pass. So, my passing of exam depends on the more I study. Okay, so this is the dependent clause, this is the independent clause. And whenever you come across such sentences in a RC, you need to focus on the dependent clause. Okay, whenever you see compound sentences, whatever comes after that or which, understand that. Okay, we have seen this in the passage also. I have told you that the sentences in which that word is being used, you need to understand whatever is written just after this particular term. That is going to be very important. Dump examples. Okay, don't concentrate. Structure words are single most important thing in RC. That is why I've told you. But, therefore, such words are very important. Whatever information is written after all these structure words is going to be very important, and question will be asked on those information. Okay, if you find a sentence with very complex content, dump that sentence. If you are unable to understand any sentence, do not focus on that sentence. Instead, read the next sentence and try to comprehend the meaning, try to figure out the meaning in context with the whole paragraph. Okay, so these are all the takeaways, these are all the important points which you need to write. Okay, so at last I just want all of you to write to note down at least three things which you have learned today from this whole session. Just three things. Okay, whatever you have learned, just note it down with a pen and pencil, and write a date also just below it. Okay, now if you really want to study with me, you need to develop your reading skills, your writing skills and speaking skills in English, then please subscribe to the 12-month or 24-month course by using this code RSYT. Okay, why I'm focusing more on the subscription of 12 months or 24 months? Because beta, this is the right time to focus on English. After 10th, you will not get ample amount of time to study English, and you can also not learn the whole subject in just 3 months or 6 months. Learning English is a very lengthy process. Okay, if you are well read but you cannot write that well and you cannot speak that well, then it is not going to help you. Okay, English is one language which has touched every area nowadays. It is a lingua franca, right? It is a universal language. So you need to invest this much of time to understand the whole language. So please subscribe for the course. You will just have to spend 788 rupees, and in that you can access all the subjects, okay? And you can access all the new course which I'm going to launch every month. So thank you. This is all from my side. Please be safe, be at your homes, wash your hands frequently, take good care of yourself, and we will meet in the next session with one more interesting lesson. Okay, thank you.